We live in an era where success is often determined by how much money you have in your bank account, the clothes you wear, the car you drive, the house you live in, the vacations you take, the followers, subscribers, likes, and views. But is that really success? I mean, when you're laying on your deathbed and thinking about your legacy, are your thoughts going to be on a bunch of useless numbers? Will you be satisfied because you were able to impress a bunch of people you've never even met? Or will your relationships be at the forefront of your mind, especially with your kids? You know, the older I get, the more I realize that there's probably no greater failure than to be beloved by the world and hated by your children. Yet there is story after story of people sacrificing their families on the altar of success. And as a father of 4, this is something I am constantly thinking about. This is a topic that keeps me up at night. And so in this video, I'm going to go over 10 ways that we can be both successful and good dads. But first, let me tell you a quick story. Several years ago, a good friend of mine had gotten a job at the vice president level at AT&T. And after working there for a couple months, he invited his boss over for dinner one night. He wanted everything to be perfect, so he, his wife, and his 3 kids spent hours getting the house clean and organized and ready for his boss and his family to arrive. And just as dinner was coming out of the oven and the house got situated, the doorbell rang, and my friend went to the door to let his boss in, and he felt pretty good about things. But as he was on his way to the front door, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed something, and it was his son, his 4-year-old son, who didn't have any clothes on. He was going through this phase where he would just take off his clothes and then run around, and decided that this would be a good time for that. And my friend was livid, and so he told his son to get upstairs right now and put your clothes on. My boss is here, it's game time. And so his son laughed and took off up the stairs, and to give him a little bit of extra motivation, my friend reached out and gave him a little attaboy on the backside, gave him a little pop there on the rear just to say, hey, this is serious, let's get a move on. But when he did, his son's body just kind of tensed up and he pooped. And so there my friend is standing in his foyer next to the stairs, next to the front door, with his boss on the other side with a handful of turds. And so my friend had to, as quickly as he could, go to the bathroom, drop the turds in the toilet, flush, wash his hands, and then get to the front door, shake his boss's hand like nothing happened. And luckily the rest of the night went off without a hitch. Dinner was good, all the children were clothed, the boss had a great time, and my friend went on to work for several years at AT&T and do really well for himself and have a good bit of success. There are a lot of people who think that kids just hold you back and they're more of an inconvenience and an obstacle and they just get in the way. And if you believe that, fine. But what I find so interesting is that when my friend was dying of cancer, we didn't talk about his jobs. We didn't talk about him being vice president of this or that and the money he made and the contracts and deals that he closed. We didn't talk about him traveling all over the world with these business trips and things like that. We talked about his kids. We told stories and we laughed and we cried and we talked about life and death and love and loss, but it was all relationship based. And all the success he had found in the business world was great, and it paid his bills and sent his kids through college, and there were a lot of good things. It's not like those things are bad, but that wasn't the best things. Those weren't the things that we focused on there at the end. And so take it from a man who's gone and take it from a man who's still here. You'll find a lot more fulfillment in life from the kids you raise than the money you make. And yeah, kids are expensive in every single way that you look at it, but success is a crowded table. It's your children wanting to be around you, especially when they get to a point where they don't have to. And the only way to make sure that happens is to be part of their lives now. And being successful and a good dad require a great deal of sacrifice and a whole lot of balancing of professional, personal, and family goals. And so here are 10 tips to help you achieve success in both areas. The first thing is to define success. What does success look like for you professionally and personally, in your job, in your company, your business, your creative projects, and at home? A lot of times we don't define what winning is, and then we wonder why we feel like we're always losing. So what does winning look like for your finances and your happiness and your family, your relationships? Write it down, talk about it, be very specific about what those things mean to you. And realize that when you're trying to be good at multiple things, you have to become okay with a certain amount of failure. It's gonna be hard to be an awesome, amazing, phenomenal dad and an amazing business owner or an amazing artist or creator or what you're trying to do over here, and an awesome husband, and you wanna play golf or do whatever hobby on the weekend. Like, you can't do all of those things at a world-class or elite level And that's okay. Define which of those things are the most important and then put your time, effort, energy, money, resources into those things and be all right if some of the plates that you're trying to keep spinning fall and break sometimes. The main thing is to live intentionally and to define success specifically, and make sure you don't fall into the trap that Dave Ramsey talks a lot about, where you
buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't really like. Stupid on parade, baby.
Again, success is a crowded table. The second thing is to communicate. Be open, be honest with your spouse, with your kids. Explain to them what you're doing, what you're working on, why you're gone a lot because you're working on this really intense project or whatever, but you're going to take them on vacation as soon as it's done. But just be upfront with them about what's going on and be willing to listen and be held accountable when the time comes for that. Your kids are going to remember a whole lot more of how you made them feel than what you did or anything that you said. And so making sure that they know that they have been listened to, that you understand, that you're trying, that you're working, all these different things, it goes a long way. And when life gets crazy and schedules get tight, just talk to them about it. They'll understand. They're smarter than you think. The third thing is to prioritize your time. Create a schedule and set up dedicated times for work and for fun and for family and for hobbies, and then create boundaries around those times that you stick to. Say no to new opportunities so you don't find yourself overcommitted and overwhelmed. Your kids will appreciate it, I promise. The fourth thing is to be present. I know a lot of people talk about quality time, but the truth is you don't know a moment is quality until long after the fact. And it's really about quantity time. Just being present, spending as much time as you can with your kids, because the quality will come out of that. I can't tell you how many times my daughter has come up to me and talked about some memory that she has that she really enjoys, that she looks back on with happiness, and I cannot remember that moment to save my life. I was there, I was in the room, there might even be a picture or a video to prove it, but I don't recall it at all, but yet it sticks out in her mind as something that was really positive. And so just be present. Remember, wherever you are, be there. Don't be on your phone. Don't be pondering life's great mysteries or thinking about your schedule or what you have to do 15 minutes from now or next week. Be there. Be in the moment. Your kids will remember it even when you don't. Number 5 is to lead by example. Unfortunately, a lot of times as parents, we fall into the mode of do as I say, not as I do. But you have to realize that your kids are always on. They're always watching. They're always taking notes. And so how you respond to things, how you act, what you say, the things that you do are the things that they're going to internalize and then that they're going to do with their kids. And so if you want them to be a positive influence on the next generation, it starts with you right now. Number 6 is to encourage independence. One thing that really helped me as a parent was to realize that I am not raising kids as much as I'm training adults, and that's a totally different mindset. And so if my kids are going to grow up and be successful adults, that means I'm going to have to really think through and be intentional about what I'm telling them, what I'm teaching them, what I'm helping them with, what I'm not helping them with. That way they can go out and live their own lives. So be mindful about what your kids are learning, because they're going to learn about life from someone, but it's probably better that they learn things from you, and then you set up an environment where they can make mistakes and mess up, but it's okay. They learn from it, they get back up, they figure it out. Number 7 is to combine opportunities when you can. Pretty much every day, my son and I will go outside and play baseball, and what I've learned is that that is an opportunity that is wonderful for me and my mental health and my just being able to detach from the craziness of life and whatever's going on, and it's an amazing time to hang out with him, and so I'm getting to combine opportunities there. He loves it, I love it, everybody wins. My daughter is super artsy, and so whenever I'm working on a game and building a prototype, I'll print everything off and I'll invite her to come in and help me cut things out and glue things together and build the boards and the tokens and components and different things like that. And then I get a prototype built and she gets to have fun and do little arts and crafts projects. We have a great time together. We talk about life, we laugh, we do all sorts of stuff, and it works out really well for the both of us. So I highly recommend finding opportunities where you can intersect work time and family time. Just make sure your kids actually want to be at that intersection. Number 8 is take care of yourself. It's really hard to be a good dad if you're dead. So try not to have a heart attack at 40. Unfortunately, a lot of guys work 25 hours a day thinking, oh, I'm going to grind and hustle now and then enjoy the benefits later, but then they never make it to the later. So make sure you eat right and exercise and get enough sleep, because the better you take care of those things, the easier it is to take care of everything else. Number 9 is to build a support system, and that's both for you and your kids. You need friends and family and other people in your lives that you can talk to, that you can turn to when things are kind of crazy or when you need help. And there are going to come times when your kids need somebody to talk to and they don't want to talk to you. And so having other adults in their lives that they can turn to in those moments of need is such a better strategy than relying on their stupid friends to give them advice. And number 10 is to be adaptable. There's an old saying that God blesses the flexible, for they are not easily bent out of shape. Life is full of changes and uncertainties, and your goals are going to change, things are going to change, life is going to happen, things are going to not go as you planned, things are going to sometimes go way better than you planned, and things are going to have to adjust on the fly. That's okay. That's just part of it. And the better you are at changing and growing and adjusting, the better your kids will be at it too. And just remember that being successful and being a good dad are not mutually exclusive, and by focusing on these 10 tips, we can accomplish both. But if you're having a hard time being productive right now, make sure you check out this video. I think it'll help you get unstuck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.